What's up, YouTube? Batcave Comics back again for a new video. And this time, this video is going to be for deadpool2323 200 sub contest. He kind of threw out, pretty much do whatever you feel like doing. Kind of let everyone know a little bit about yourself, or basically whatever you wanted to do. So what I decided to do is pull some somewhat interesting books you comic collectors may or not be interested in or even know about. I think I have a few that quite a few of you might actually like. Now, all these are pretty much from the 90s, except for two. One is from 2000, and then one is an older one. So, I guess let me get started. The first book I'm going to show is Wild Star #1 Gold Edition. Now in the 90s, that's when they really started getting big with like the variant cover things, the gold labels, the signature ones you can mail away for and get a signed copy with a certificate. And I was buying quite a few of those. Not quite a few, but a handful. And that was before CGC was introduced, which of course made them signatures almost obsolete as far as retail value. Some collectors are still interested in them and pick them up from time to time, but they just you just don't get the money for them that you could have. I think that's one reason why I also like PGX or CBCS, not just CGC, because as everyone knows, they'll actually authenticate the signatures for you, where CGC has to be a witness, which, is understandable. To each their own. And I think these companies serve different purposes, and I actually like them all. It doesn't matter to me. So let me start off with a Wild Star #1. This is the gold edition, of course. And most of these books are a dime a dozen, but you don't see a lot of them at your LCSs. So I'm just going to show probably maybe 28 books or something like that. So that's book 1. Book 2 is Shadowhawk 2 Gold Edition. That says $5 First Lobo, so obviously I didn't pay that for this. The next one is Supreme #1 Gold Edition. And then I actually found another one of those. So, might as well pick up an extra. Then, Youngblood #0 Gold Edition. Rob Liefeld book, of course. His art is pretty much, self-explanatory. You can definitely tell when it's him. Another Rob Liefeld, Youngblood #1. Now this is one of those, like I say, specialty books where he's got his signature right there, and then it came with the certificate. And I also have the gold edition of this. I just couldn't find it at the time. This is a little bit harder one to find. Savage Dragon and Savage Omega Men #1. The gold edition. I kind of like this art too. Pretty cool. Eric Larson. Next one is Brigade #1 gold edition. And you do run into these from time to time at your LCS. You know, you can find them on eBay, of course. I mean, they're not like super rare. But, I mean, they're pretty cool to have in your collection, I think. Prophet #1. The gold edition. And then here's one of these. Another one. Prophet #1 regular edition. That is also signed and numbered. And these you got through the mail. Here's a certificate. Signed by Dan Penazian. I guess that's how you pronounce his last name. Some of these I should have graded because I've never even read them or looked at them. I mean, Darker Image #1 gold. They came out with a few different variations of this. They had the gold edition. Then they also had the platinum edition, which I think is really cool. And I'm not sure, but they may have come out with another one. But I think this is the best one of them out of all of them. Sam Keith, Jim Lee, and Rob Liefeld. This one here I wouldn't mind have triple signed and graded. This one could get a little pricey. This one here, Sovereign 7 #1. This is the platinum edition. I actually had bought in a collection a few years back, and this one was in it. And I had no clue what it was, so I did a little research and found out that this is actually the platinum edition. You know, Chris Claremont, Dwayne Turner. So this one might be actually something pretty decent to get signed by Chris Claremont. Now, most of you know what this one is. Magneto #0. The mail away edition. You can only get it by mailing away, you know, certain coupons you pulled out of books. I actually thought this one would be a lot more, you know, as far as value by now, but it's pretty much worth a couple bucks, that's it. But I mean, I thought the cover was super sharp. Love the way they did it. The black and the purple really look cool together. But yeah, you know, it was one of them things where you were basically, and everyone too, was collecting whatever they could get their hands on. And I thought this would be a pretty cool addition, you know. The only bad thing is you had to tear coupons out of your comics. Now this is another one you got through the mail. Uncanny X-Men 281, signed by Walsh Particio. And what's cool is the certificate is actually a picture of Walsh Particio. And on the back of it, of course, it has all the information. Comics Express is where I got this. And that's what, 25 years ago now? I mean, so to me, these books aren't old, but it's surprising how fast time flies. All right, X-Men 2099 Gold Edition. This one's fairly cheap too. I mean, you could pick this up for, you know, $5-10 bucks. I mean, it's not that rare or hard to find. And then back in the same time frame, Wizard really started coming out with their own like special issues or you know, special copies of issues. Like this was Uncanny X-Men 320, which is the Wizard Gold edition. And I believe you could only get these pretty much through the mail too. But I mean, you know, it's something cool to have, different. You know, something that back then you couldn't run to your comic store and pick up. You actually had to get through the mail. Here's another one. And this is a really cool cover by Michael Turner. Witchblade Tomb Raider Wizard half. And then, you know, they have this little wizard hologram on them, which is pretty cool. And then, of course, they come with the certificate of authenticity. But yeah, I really like that cover. Michael Turner, fantastic art. Another Wizard half. Star Wars Boba Fett. Special Gold Edition. Wizard Edition. Really cool looking cover. Looks like he's in a police lineup. And that also came with a certificate of authenticity. I think some of these I'm going to have to send a PGX or CBCS. And then Tales of Witchblade half, another Wizard exclusive. This is a really cool looking cover too. It kind of has the gold around here. I mean, when you hit it in the light just right, it really reflects well, or shines pretty well. And then it's got the certificate and the certificate of the signature. David Hull signed it right there. Alright, another thing they were doing were the little Ashcan books when they first came out. So this is Stormwatch 1. I had bought like 3 or 4 of these. These are another thing you had to get through the mail. It came with a little seal on it. As you can tell, this one was never opened. So I just bought it, threw it in a bag and board. Thought this came with a certificate, but I guess not. It was signed right there by Scott. I can't remember who, what the last name is. Little Scott something, but I thought these were pretty cool. The artwork's pretty good too. And then I also got the Wildcats. This was numbered 4,531 out of 5,000. This also has the little seal on it that wasn't broken. There was my invoice. Oops. Oh, that's my old address, so it doesn't matter. I bought these in 1992. So, yeah. Alright, a couple more. This one I thought was awesome. Definitely had to pick it up. Tomb Raider Witchblade. Wizard exclusive. Top Cow. Signed by Michael Turner. Which, you know, you're not going to get that signature any longer. And I almost sold this, but then I decided to keep it. It's got the certificate of authenticity. Artist and writer on this book. It's got the cool little hologram sticker on the book too, to authenticate it, because they have this book also without that. You got to look for that. Alright, this one here some of you guys might appreciate. Infinity Gauntlet #1. Now, they say this is the Platinum Edition. Why, I don't know. I can't tell any difference from the regular edition, which this was signed right there by George Perez, and he signed it in platinum ink, so maybe that's why they call it the Platinum Edition. And there's a certificate back when I bought it in 1991. I had actually 2 or 3 of these, and it was so funny how you could find this book anywhere in the dollar bin all day long. Try to do that now. I had a few I gave to a couple of my buddies, and then all of a sudden the book got super hot. And this is, I think, the only #1 that I kept. Whoa, hey, let's damage it while I'm showing them off. But yeah, I think that one was pretty cool. You know, Platinum Edition, you'd think it'd be a little different. And then this one here is Doctor Strange, #15. This book here, little story behind it. Most of you might know, but apparently this is Amy Grant's picture on the cover, which they didn't get permission to put that on there. So she actually filed a lawsuit against Marvel for, this cover. I don't really know the outcome of that, whether she followed through with it or, won any money. But, I thought that was kind of interesting to pick this book up just for that reason. Anytime a book has some kind of history, it's good to have in your collection. So, yeah. Next couple books are actually kind of hard to find. This one, X-Men 11, second printing, the Pressman variant. You're not going to find this too often in your LCS. There's a few on eBay, and this book actually was fairly pricey. It's gone down quite a bit. But it's still a good book to have in your collection. This is back when Jim Lee was doing the X-Men. Still like his work. This book's in awesome condition too, by the way. I don't think there's any dings on this at all. This is another one I'll probably have graded, but I'll send it to CGC. So, most of my stuff goes to CGC, because I only live 20 minutes away. I just drive it there. Now, this book here is extremely hard to find. Gambit #16, variant edition. I actually found this one in Illinois for $3. I was up there with my daughter. Excuse me. She had a visit to a college up there. So I decided to drive around and try to find a few comic shops, and I found one. And I was digging through a bunch of boxes he hadn't sorted through yet, and I ran across this one. I couldn't believe I found it. So I took it up there with number 14 and 15. So I took all 3 up there, $3 a piece. I mean, I was like going crazy that I found this actually for $3. Because this book in this condition, usually goes for $100+ because it's a pretty rare book. This is actually from 2000. So, and then another book that I liked when I was a kid that I thought was a great read is Super Boxers. The story's not real complex. And I read this back when I was in middle school. And I loved the story. It's about an underground boxer and a boxer that had a silver spoon in his mouth. And all the gloves and equipment were kind of all computerized and really cool. But I really thought this was a fantastic read when I was a kid. It was one of my favorite books, and this is a Marvel graphic novel, number 8. But a little story behind this book. I let one of my buddies borrow it, never returned it. So years later, I looked up on eBay and found one for pretty cheap, so I bought it. You know, and that's the only reason why I bought this. There's really nothing special about this. It was just one of my favorite books back, you know, when I was younger. All right. Then, we're winding it down. I only have 2 more left. This is Jim Lee's Wildcats Gold Edition, which this one graded a 9.8, but I actually won this at a contest at one of the local LCSs, which is now no longer in business. But I don't see a whole lot of these either. I actually had another one signed by Jim Lee. I ended up selling. I probably should have kept it, but I had this one already graded, so you know, I might as well sell the other one. And this one I probably won't crack open and get signed. I mean, maybe recased in the new holders because they're much nicer. But yeah, I thought this book was really cool. I know with the glare it sucks. Sorry guys. I probably could have took it out of the bag. Alright. And then the last book I think everybody will probably be interested in is Overstreet Guide to Comics from, I think, 1976. I can't remember. I have a few of these that are older. But this is actually issue number 6. But what's really cool about this, and guys, if you ever, yeah, from 1976, right there, it's kind of, but guys, if you ever get a chance and you run into some of these older price guides, pick them up, especially if you can get them cheap. Oh, because the interesting thing about this is you can go back, right? Of course, these are a little different, but you can go back. Let's look for what's a popular book. Let's look for Hulk 181. Let me see, and check out how much some of the books were back then. Hulk right here. Let's see if it's in here. Okay. Hulk 161 through 200. It was worth a solid 30 cents. Can you see that? In 1976. 30 cents. And then Hulk 102 was $1.50. $1.50. The first Hulk from the 60s you could get for $90. That was the top price in 1976. But I think that's what's real cool about these older Overstreet guides. I got a handful of them. Let me see what this other one is. This one was issue number 11. So the prices are somewhat different. But really cool, really interesting. If you can find them, I would advise you to pick 1 or 2 up and just see how far comics have come from the 70s till now. Pretty cool stuff, man. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. This is my submission to deadpool2323 200 sub contest. I want to thank everybody for watching. Please hit the like if you like it. Please subscribe. I'm trying to get, you know, my numbers built up. I'm not doing so good, but Your support is greatly appreciated. Till next time. See ya.